what's about to unfurl and unfold in this world did not start in 2008. This is the biggest misnomer and mistake that is made by financial pundits. They think that the unhinged spending and unhinged policies of the Federal Reserve in 2008 is what precipitated or preceded this financial calamity that is now engulfing the entire world. That is wrong. That is incorrect. And others point to 2002 and 2004 when they removed the Glass-Steagall Act. When they removed the Glass-Steagall Act, banks got bigger, businesses got bigger, and they started plundering even more. But that in itself is not the preceding cause of this financial collapse that is unfolding right now. I'm going to take you back, excuse me, to 1971. In 1971, the world went off the gold and silver standard, and it has been off the gold and silver standard since then. That, my dear and sir, is one of the main reasons for the collapse. And they forget this because in between 1971 and up to the day, most of them made their fortune. They forget this. And in between that time of 1971 and up until the day, or up until 2008, most of them had no problem with the financial moves of the Fed because they benefited from that. You see? But America has been detached from the gold and silver standard since 1971. That means she detached a spending limit from the American Republic. And it went from being money backed by sound resources and commodities to a currency backed by IOUs. And the printing press went into overdrive to maintain American power, to maintain American dominance. To do these things, she went into a frenzy and took the American Republic off the gold and silver standard. So it didn't happen in 2008. It didn't happen in 2002 and 2004. It happened in 1971. And to give you something even more, it happened prior to that too, because America was robbing her currency of gold and silver in the 60s. I'm going to say that again. America was robbing her currency of gold and silver in the 60s. That's why if you look and you go back and find these the coins that were minted back then, before 65, they had silver in them, they had gold in them. So America was starting to take her nation because her spending, she wanted to be the preeminent power, the dominant power. So she started robbing her currency of the gold and silver backing. It reminds you of ancient Rome when Rome did the same thing and started putting copper in. And from copper, they watered that down to other things. And then the currency became nothing. The coins had no significant value in them. We're watching that today in modern Rome or modern Babylon. So from the 60s, if you look, she started robbing her currency of the silver and gold backing. And so you saw what was once silver dollars, no more. What was once silver half dollars or silver dimes and silver nickels be robbed of the 90% content, and they reduced it to 30 and 40% content. And then not only that, but when we look and we see from 65, they took the rest of the content out of the dimes and the silver. And the only thing that was left was the half dollars, who had a portion of silver content. And that ended in 1970, 1969, 1970. So we saw the lead up to what we're seeing today. A lot of you see these economic crises, you see the political turmoil and the political crisis and the geopolitical crisis, and all you can see is right there. You don't take the time to look at the buildup to the crescendo. You don't understand that it was a base laid. You know, a person just don't sit the house down. The person lays the base for the house and builds the house up, right? So too has America built up her financial problems. She laid the base for it in the 60s when she was robbing her coins of silver, but that wasn't enough to keep up with her spending. That wasn't enough to keep up with her spending. So what she did was detach herself from the gold and silver standard. Charles de Gaulle, a French president who was also a French general, saw the spending habits of their American ally, America. And Charles de Gaulle realized that America was spending and printing more money than the gold and silver value that she had in storage, or that she claimed that she had in store. So Charles de Gaulle said, hey, man, hey, what's going on here? What's going on here? You know, you doing that, you're exporting inflation to us. You know, you doing that, you're giving us problems here. You're hiccuping and we're getting heartburn over here. So what's really? And America tried to soothe the goal. He tried to soothe those other leaders. And then Richard Nixon stepped on the stage and he said, oh, don't worry about it. America's word is as good as gold. That's what he said. And Charles de Gaulle said, then give us gold. And Charles de Gaulle moved to repatriate the gold that they had and moved to turn in all of these dollars in return for gold. And that's when Richard Nixon got frantic and got panicky and stopped all payments in gold, all redeemable dollars and dollar assets in gold. And from that point, he was trying to soothe everybody. Oh, we're not really disconnecting from the gold standard. And then not too long later, a week or so later, he detached the American economy, the American dollar, from the silver and gold standard, and it has never been restored. Never been restored. So when you look at the financial problems of today, they have root in the 60s and in the 70s, not just in 2008, not just in 2002 and 2004, when the corrupt leadership removed the Glass-Steagall Act. If you continue to print money and you continue to turn on those printing presses and you continue to use your money as weapons, you alienate people. You export inflation, and people are saying, man, you know what? Every time we try to do something sovereign, we get sanctioned, or America plays with the percentage points and it spikes inflation over here, or it calls food prices to rise, or it calls energy prices to rise over here. And then that causes protests on the street in our country. We can't keep funding America's habits. So then you see nations get together like the Eurasian Economic Union. And you see people get together like the BRICS nations and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And all of these nations, they get together and they're for years trying to figure out a way out of the dollar trap. And so now that more and more nations are moving towards using the Chinese renminbi or the yuan, or they're trying to use a basket of currency, or they're trying to bag the currencies with commodities so that they can have an intrinsic value in them. Thus meaning that the dollar itself has been undermined by the policies of the politicians, the corrupted leaders of America. It's not China destroying the dollar. China doesn't print dollars. It's not Russia undermining the strength of the dollar. Russia does not print dollars. It's not Venezuela or Iran trying to undermine the strength of the dollar because they see what the dollar has done and is doing, and they're trying to move out of the dollar trap and exchange commodities and other currencies, that's not them trying to undermine the dollar. That's them trying to reinforce their sovereignty, their economic sovereignty, their political sovereignty. It is America and her corrupted and arrogant politicians who have undermined